It was like a prison yard. Like everything
Yeah.
is scripted. Everything is scripted. They have prison in the school. It was a military school, so we had something called a guard room. If you commit an offense, they send you there and they lock you up. It was rugged. Growing up in secondary school, they would use flogging to wake students up. As I tell you to this day, I have never slept without a shirt. Fear. The African system of education is not entirely a good structure, if you ask me.
Your schooling experience, do you think that it contributed to your success and who you are today, or do you think it was something else?
It did not play any role to that.
Okay. Hi, Eddie. How are you?
I'm very well, Danielle. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's so good to have you. You are episode 6 now for the Education Effect YouTube edition. And I'm really pleased to have yourself. So without further ado, for those who are probably watching that maybe don't know who you are and what the great work that you've done, do you want to just give a brief intro to who you are, what you do, etc.?
Hi, everyone, to everyone that is watching. My name is Edwin Chinagorom Uzo. That's my full birth name. Eddie is short for Edwin. And I'm an actor, a model, and a personal fitness trainer, and also a talent manager. These are all of the things that I do for a living.
So Edwin, but everyone calls you Eddie, right? So where did the walker come in?
Okay, so before now, I used to be an active runway fashion model in Men's Fashion Week, Lagos Fashion Week, like back in the day. So due to the type of way that I walk. So randomly, one time after a fashion weekend, I made a post and a girl just commented and said, "You have a very unique walk. And have you ever thought of naming yourself in association with the brand Johnny Walker? You have a good walk. So just call yourself Eddie Walker," in the comment section. And that's how I got that name, Eddie Walker, to this day.
I love that. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I really love that. I really thought that your surname was Walker, Eddie Walker. I really did. So this is the Education Effect. It's all about finding out about how your schooling experience actually contributed to your success and who you are today. So my first question for you is, your schooling experience, do you think that it contributed to your success and who you are today, or do you think it was something else?
School in itself, like in knowledge wise, it helps me in terms of communicating with people according to the level that I grew into, but in form of equipping me to be able to attack the society and pull myself through to the point that by God's grace, I am right now. It did not play any role to that. However, way I got to this point is due to intentional self-knowledge from experience, both in school and outside school. Intentional self-knowledge, pretty much, from people and experience.
Yeah, I think when we get into the conversation, it will be good to know whether you think that there are things that you feel that could have even helped you if you learned from school, like if school actually did a better job at teaching you certain things. And I'm sure we'll get into that. So start us off right from the beginning. Like, what type of student were you and what type of schools did you go to? Paint us a picture.
Okay, so this is funny, but when I was growing up, I attended 6 primary schools. 6. I don't know why, but for every time there's a new school in my area, my mom would change our school. Me and my sister to switch us to another school. Just for, I don't know if it was fun, but every new term we start another school. But it has always been a public school. I was born here in Abuja, and then my dad built his own house in a nearby city here in Abuja called Nasarawa. So I practically grew up in the northern side of Abuja, if you get what I mean. So I attended schools of different calibers of people. In fact, I don't know people who are wealthy, like growing up. I don't know anything like that. So it was just people of my pair and then the basic public school standard, pretty much.
Before you get to secondary, we're going to unpack that because that's very interesting. 6 primary schools. Were you in different houses or you were in the same house, but your parents just decided to send you to a different school every year?
Same house, Different schools.
And when, okay, so this was a public school environment. So, you're meeting kind of, I would say, working class, families and children, and you're going to a different one. So when you would go to these schools, what was the conversation like? Was it like, okay, so Eddie, this September you're going to this school, or did they tell you any form of reasoning? Were they like, oh, this school looks like a nice school, or why did you think that this was happening to you in primary?
I I think this happened for no particular strong reason. It was just for, oh, there's a new school in the environment and everyone's children is going there. They switched like that. It was that. Nothing
Wow.
significant.
Looking back at your life now, do you feel that that had any effect at all on just on you, maybe going to different environments? Like, did that affect maybe how you related with different people or friendships? Or do you feel like maybe because it was so young, maybe it didn't really affect you as much?
So growing up, I don't think it really affected me, but I would say one thing. If we're being honest, I think all of this childhood pain has made me a wanderer. I cannot stay one place for too long. I don't like to be comfortable.
Mm.
I don't like to be handed stuff. I like to go out and get my stuff by myself. I don't know how to put it, but I
Mm.
like to just move around, meet new people.
Mm.
It's fun like that for me because practically my entire childhood, even in secondary school, my mom took me to the northern far north where I did 6 years of secondary school. That is a military secondary school mix, boys and girls. So like I grew up meeting different languages of people, different houses, different understanding, like crazy. So that's the same
Mm.
way my life is now. I know I know life in different ways right now.
I love that. And I think that's a positive outlook to look at that as, okay, even though, yes, you moved to different schools, it's probably helped you to be able to relate with different people, meet different people, be comfortable in the uncomfortable. Whereas maybe those who didn't have that experience, the way that they relate with people might be different. So take us through secondary now. So you said that you went to a military school. Tell us, what was the reasoning to go there and what was your experience like as a secondary school young guy in the military?
Asking me this question now, I just recall the first day my mom dropped me off. That day, it was like, because my mom is the love of my life. Like, my mom is my
Mm.
every single thing.
Everything.
So, I didn't know it was a cadet school. I thought it was just a normal public school. But when we got there, I was just seeing people in different military uniforms in the categories, and some were wearing normal uniforms. I started asking myself, what are we doing here? Like, why is there a mix? So there's an option. You can choose to be a civilian student or a military student. It's both. So that's why it's a cadet school. So in the early stage, I was missing home. I was missing my home, the freedom. There was no liberty. You cannot do nothing. So I think my secondary school helped me to stay sharp. Like there is no place in this universe that I cannot adopt in less than 24 hours. I am sharp. I am fast. I am critical. I see things like 5 times ahead of time before it happens. I'm always alert. And
Mm.
that's because I went to a military secondary school. But mind you, it also has like a negative impact because they would wake us up
Mm.
flogging us. And as I tell you to this day, I have never slept without a shirt. Fear.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't sleep without something on my body because growing up in secondary
Mm.
school, they would use like flogging to wake students up. So because of that, we will wear multiple uniforms to go to bed. So when they flog us to wake us up,
Wow.
it doesn't get to us intensely. So because of that fear, I grew up like that. Till this day, I have never slept shirtless and I don't know how to do it. It had a lot of impact for me.
Do you know the reasoning of why your mum decided for you to go to a cadet school? Because I'm sure those that are listening might think, oh, were you maybe like a bit naughty? So did your mum think, to tame you, maybe you need to go to military school to calm down? Or was it just an experience? Or yeah, what type of
So
child were you in terms of character?
I was stubborn, but I was very scared of my parents. So no matter how my stubbornness was within my friends, it never got to the house. So At home, I never did anything to cause chaos. My stubbornness was within my peers. You cannot take me for granted. You cannot ride on me. And what I want is what I want outside the house. But in the house, I was calm. So the idea of taking me to a boarding school was because everybody my age at that time were not in the area. And it was a very terrible area. So my mom just needed the means to take me off of that environment.
Mm,
So she's not so worried about
mm,
how I probably turn out in the future. You get me? So she took me to where in her mind would discipline me even better in the absence of her. So
mm.
I think that was the decision because everybody
Uh-huh.
in the area, their children had gone far. You don't see them playing around. When they come back, you know it's for holiday and the area is more fun. So that's why they took me to a
Mm.
boarding school.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when you say that the area was rough, was it like gangs, that kind of thing? Was it like crime that was
Yes,
happening
so
amongst young people in the
yes,
area?
yes. Crime, gang fights.
Um,
It was a very terrible area. So you can Google this thing I'm about to tell you. Just search the place called New Area. Google would give you pictures and then you then have a mental picture to understand whatever I just said now. It's a very, very rural area, like
mm,
very, very. So yeah, pretty much that kind of area. So my mom
okay.
just, we would just every means to get their children out of there so that they know only when they come for holiday they have to be worried about their kids being in danger or in harm's way, that kind of thing.
You said something earlier. You mentioned about be like this, your secondary school made you sharp and made you think critically, making you 5 steps ahead. What experiences did you have in secondary that really made that you think, oh yeah, this maybe, I don't know, was it a routine or something that happened during that time that you think was probably the reason?
So you just said something now, and that's it. Routine. In my school, because of
Mm,
the whole military thing, till this day, I am very punctual. If you tell me
mm,
10 a.m., from 7, I am losing my mind. I'm uncomfortable because I'm doing everything I can to make sure that I fall into that 10 a.m. that you gave me. It is a subconscious thing. So
mm.
growing up from year one, like JSS1 to SS3, we woke up 12:15 a.m. for 6 years. The Christians will go to the Christian fellowship hall to pray. The Muslims go to the Muslim fellowship place to pray. And once it's 5:30, we're doing something called morning duty. Everybody's sweeping their environment, the departments and all that.
Wow.
And once it's 7:20, assembly ground. Once it's 7:35, classroom. So it was like that, like that. So there was a routine. On Thursdays, we're playing game. On Mondays, we have night prep and afternoon prep. We have all of these things, different uniforms for different days. It was like a prison yard. Like everything
Yeah.
is scripted. Everything is scripted. There's nothing
Mm.
off aside from the time when boys will always be boys. We will sneak out of school to go and watch football, like Premier League and all of those things. But I mean, boys will
Mm.
always be boys. But besides that, everything was scripted. They have prison in the school.
Wow.
Like I told you, it was a military school. So we had something called a guard room where if you commit an offense, they send you there and they lock you up. So it was rugged. It was very rugged.
If you're enjoying this conversation so far, then don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to comment your thoughts below and please subscribe. And don't forget to click that notification bell so that you're reminded every single Thursday for a new upload.
Do you look back and think that this is good? Because, there are people that are listening, particularly those in the Western world, right? They very much don't believe in this kind of overly strict, overly like regimented as such, right? They would be like, oh, let kids be kids. Some people would think, oh, let kids be kids. This isn't good. Like when we shouldn't be raising prisoners. But then you're highlighting some really good discipline, really good outcomes that have come from this. Do you look back and think that this is actually very good and something that needs to be within our education systems? Or do you feel that, no, it was a bit extreme and you could have still maybe had these benefits without having to go through this?
A lot of people who went to boarding schools or who passed through educational system as to the one that I have just described for myself, there's so many traumatic experience. It sounds like fun, but
Mm,
I promise you, in your day-to-day life, you're honest. So I have a very terrible sleeping schedule. Not my fault, not because
mm,
it's fun. No, I don't sleep deeply. If you drop a pin when I'm sleeping, I promise you I will wake up. That's not good. I don't sleep
Mm,
restfully, like entirely with my body and soul into that sleep. I'm always alert.
mm.
That's not good. It was extreme, to
Wow.
be fair. It was so extreme that during holidays, when we meet some of our seniors, our senior officers in town, like in Abuja, we hate them. Like we want to fight them in real life for what they did in school. That was where people
Mm,
would go to pay back to seniors what they did in school. That was the premises for that. So, in as much as I say it's good, I promise you it wasn't entirely good. There were too many beatings. Like I was always scared. I look forward to leaving school for holiday. You're scared of everyone that is above
mm,
you because anything can happen.
mm,
But one thing is paramount. Boarding school would make you sharp. Not because you cannot be sharp even when you go to day school. That's not my point.
mm.
But anyone that attended a boarding school, let alone a cadet military boarding school, you cannot catch them unaware. Is a fact. And then it was a mix, both male and female. So we had both shares of
Mm.
female angle, and then it was bad.
Yeah.
That type of
Mm,
upbringing will set a child's mind on a different path. It takes the grace of God
mm.
to use that and influence yourself positively. And I wish I attended a straight on theater school from day one.
Yeah.
All these other things that I learned was not necessary. They were not necessary. But I mean, you're doing like 10 course load for something that requires you to just pay
Mm,
attention to one thing and help you become a master in that art. But too many things jam packed all at once. So that is not the
yeah.
African system of education is not entirely a good structure, if you ask me.
So, as a student, then obviously you're definitely in the creative industry now, but when you were in secondary school, what did you actually want to do? Like, did you always want to be a creative, or what did you aspire to do when you were younger?
So first things first, the first thing I ever thought of becoming was a pilot. That's because my dad worked as an airport taxi man in Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport. So once in a while, he would take me and my sister to the airport, and then I would see plane just take off. So that was my first ever imagination to be a pilot. But becoming a young teenager, the goal was to ever become one of the world's greatest footballer ever. Because I have the privilege to know how to play football very well. So I pursued it. I went to academic trainings. I went for Nigerian trials, European trials where they would send their delegates here to Nigeria and scout us. I pursued it to the height of heights. But I mean, when you come from a particular home where you have to provide and there's not much, you choose to put food on your table first above something else that you know requires a lot of finance to pursue. So yeah, but it has always been football.
You would still need money to go ahead with that if you were successful. You would have to put money
Of
down, or
of
oh.
course, it's not enough for you to have the gift of football. It's not enough.
Mm, wow. So obviously you had to make that hard decision to not go forward for football, even though you had the potential and the skills. So how old were you at that time, and what did you switch to? Was that when you now said, I want to go into acting? What were you kind of looking at as another plan
So
then?
I have always been an art student from day one. Literature, poetry, all of those things that had to do with that. I was in the drama club, news team. I was even in the French club where we did acting in French growing up.
Wow.
So my life has always been about writing, music, art. But primarily, the first thing I did after secondary school, because of money, I know how to make hair. Like I used to work in a female salon. So yeah, I can do what you have on your hair. Yeah, I can do that by myself. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I know how to make hair, braiding, wigging,
When did you
revamping.
learn this? When did you learn this? Military school or the sixth primary? Like,
No, after secondary school. After
okay.
secondary school, there's a place called Wuse Market here in Abuja.
Yeah.
So my friend, may he so rest in peace, is late.
Mm.
My sister would go to Wuse Market to make her hair, and then she discovered that it was guys that were as young as me that were making her hair. And then she now saw my friend that we were very close in secondary school that does it. And then she now asked him how much it would cost her to pay for her younger brother to come join them here and learn how to make hair. So she
Wow.
paid for me, and then I would go there as an apprentice. So day by day, between that year, for like 5 years, I even go for home service. I'll follow him. So I learned all of
Oh.
those things in that way. But while I was doing that, I was
Mm.
pursuing modeling. So everything happened simultaneously at the same time. I was
Okay.
doing modeling, learning how to make it. I was working out, doing fitness. Everything was happening at the same time. This was as far back as 12, 13 years ago, or 14, if maybe as far back as then.
Wow, wow. And during that time when you were making hair, obviously, your sister basically just hooked you up and thought this would be great for you. Was there like anyone that was like inspiring you or encouraging you? Did you have like a mentor that was in any of these fields that were just kind of guiding you, or was it just kind of figuring it out as you're going along?
To be honest, there was no particular visual mentor. It was just a
Mm.
thing of young people, like where I think I would say I was inspired by the same young persons as me, like that would go there every day. The idea of making it big in this thing that we're doing. For hairstyling, it was a means of survival and a means to socialize. It was not like I never thought of being a hairstylist. I just had the privilege, and then now I can say that's part of my CV because I still know how to do that. But for modeling and fitness, the idea was to be in front of a camera, and that alone was my passion. So whichever means that would keep me in front of the camera. I'm a very passionate person, first of all. So I didn't think I had anything to lose to not try. So I just kept
Uh-huh.
showing up every day for myself. I would watch YouTube videos. Late at night, I'll put book on my head and walk in a straight line so I can perfect how I walk. I didn't know anybody in the public space to say, oh, this is the person I want to be like. It was just a
Yeah.
mental thing.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm sure there's people that are watching and thinking, how do I get into this? Because, with academic routes, right, it's a lot more clearer and easier because you know that, oh,
True.
okay, I need to get A's and B's. Okay, cool. I need to go to university. Okay, cool. But with modeling, acting, such a creative space, there's not really a clear blueprint. Can you
True.
kind of tell us maybe your first big opportunity? How did that come about? Did that come about through being at the right place at the right time? Did you have to pitch yourself? Just tell us a little bit more about that.
So I always like when they ask me this question because people, like you said it in a very cool way. You explain it in the way that people know the difference between academic success and the creative success. For the creative part, there's no blueprint. It happens when it happens.
Wow.
You understand me? So I don't know the best way to put this, but here's the thing. I just kept showing up. All of my first gig in modeling in act, they were all free. And for me, all of us were different people. I need the money. I want money to be able to take care of my family. But money is always the secondary thing that gives me momentum to pursue anything you see me doing today.
Yeah.
The level I have, if you take away money and I can still survive, I will still be doing
You
this
do
thing
it.
that I'm doing. That's how I
Mm.
know that, okay, this is my path.
Mm.
So to that description, I just kept showing up and I would pursue myself, both Lagos and Abuja. I've not always lived here. I used to live in Lagos as well. So I would
Mm.
shuffle. I would go to everywhere I know that there's opportunity. Sometimes I walk when I cannot afford the transportation. I would trek. Sometimes I would
Mm.
patch with someone else. Sometimes someone will pay for me. Before you know, one time I did a billboard job in a Ikeja City Mall, like
Mm.
Lagos. Me and my friend Alex, he's a big actor now as well. So we did that. And then my agency will send back pictures in Abuja and then they will praise us. So with that portfolio coming back to Abuja, brands started reaching out. Brands started trusting the Eddie Walker brand. And from that time to this day, I keep showing up. So there's this theory I tell people. What if I tell you, let me just limit it as little as 10 years. I have been posting 4 times every week, 365 days in 10 years, and I've never missed. What if I tell you that?
Wow, really?
Yes, really, I have never missed.
For online? Is that
So
social media or what?
yes, social media, I have
Mm.
never missed. I have continued showing up from that moment till this day. Good, bad. I mean, within the creative space, it takes a lot of
Mm.
mental energy to stay
Oh,
consistent. But
yes.
somehow, by the grace of God, I keep showing up.
That's so good. I'm sure people are taking some serious wisdom from you because it's something that we don't want it to be the case. We want it to be fast. We want to know that if we show up 4 times a week for 6 months, we're going to get the result. 4 years, people will probably give up by year one. But you're reminding us that process is key. Do you know what I mean? And that
Yes.
actually it does take time. So I do love that. So my last question then for you, looking back at your educational experience, like you've shared with us, do you feel that there's something that you wish you would have been taught when you were much younger that could have even helped you where you are now, maybe even quicker?
One thing that I wish school helped me with a lot would be learning things that are not exactly intellectual, like being handy, first of all. Handy. In school,
Mm,
I mean, in this part of the world, not everything is practical. It's just theoretical. Like they just teach you
yeah.
and then you come back, write exams and go. I wish I had an acting coach from day one. I wish I had a fashion coach from day one. I wish I had a football steady agent from day one, an academy that grows you from academy to division one to pro, just like they have in the Western world. I wish there was a proper structure that
Mm,
made this talent because a lot of us grew up with so many talent, but because we have a different type of educational system, some of us even left our talent and pursued the academical system of thriving. So I
yeah.
think in the best
Yeah.
way to put it, I wish I had an early start of theater life, pretty much.
Mm, yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. I think that looking back at my experience, like I used to like want to be in the whole acting was like my dream. Acting was everything. I used to do a lot of like theater when I was in school. My mom would drop me to like theater schools and I would go and perform and do lots of theaters in the UK. And I absolutely loved it. But I think, yeah, I think when I got to the age of 16 and I kind of found a passion within education, I went for it. Doesn't mean that necessarily I don't want to act. I still want to act. I still love it. But I guess you find another passion in addition, and then you kind of make that the main thing. And then if there's something, an opportunity within the creative space that you can do, that you can dabble in and then dabble out kind of thing, then that's great. Whereas I think
Yes.
some people, the creative space is their one and only. Like that's their all, their whatever they think, breathe, eat, and there's nothing else really. And so they kind of go all in, which was your space. Eddie, it's been
Yes.
such a pleasure talking to you. Such an interesting experience that you've had. And I'm sure that a lot of us can take it away. Actually, random question now. When you in the future, if you want to have children, have you thought about the type of schooling you would want them to go to? Would you want them to have a similar experience or?
Nah, I would give them a different part of everything that I missed out on based on what they want.
Yeah, I can imagine. I guess the main thing is kind of figuring out what you want to do because some kids don't know what they want to do. And so you
Yeah.
can't even send them to the theatre school because they might not even know that they want to do that. So
They
I
might
guess
not.
the
Yeah.
main thing is
True.
exposing them and then guiding them when they find it, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Eddie. It's been such a pleasure having you. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this conversation, then do not forget to subscribe, join the Education Effect family, and I can't wait to see you with my next guest.